Hello and welcome to my beautiful ghetto table. I'm your host, the Doctor. Welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a special little video here on arm movement. I'm going to show you what I'm doing and how I release, where I release. Hopefully you can see. I think you should be able to see my arm up here. So, we're going to just be throwing a hard way set, and we'll be back here where I'm usually shooting from, and I'm just going to show you in slow motion what my arm does. My wrist stays firm, stays stiff. You don't want that to, like, when you throw, you don't want your wrist to come up and tilt these dice to make them cockeyed when you release. You want them to be, when you get your hand up here and you release them, they are released at barely, not even a 5-degree angle, maybe a 3-degree angle. And you release them right up here, not at the peak, but when your arm is about perpendicular with your shoulder, well, not perpendicular, but even with your shoulder, at that shoulder height, chin height, you want to release there. And the goal here, when we're throwing an inline throw, is to keep your arm straight, to keep the dice at a 90-degree angle with the back wall. We'll say that the stick right there, that's straight. It's aligned with the table, or at least with the place bets right there. And our goal is to bring our arm up to our height, to our release height, which will be at shoulder height up here, if you didn't see that. And you want to keep it in line with that stick. You want to keep it as straight as possible. Because when you turn your dice, when you deviate, that's when you get fucked up. That's when your results are not going to be controlled. They'll be random. So, I'm going to throw some heaters out here, and we'll just mark up the numbers we hit. That's an 8. Wish I had a second camera so you can see the landing zone, but that's alright. Maybe one day. In line with the back wall and release. That's a 9. Both of those throws had a 5 in it. This was the 4-5-9. The 8 was a 5-3-8. So, what that's telling me, the way I throw this set, right, is with the 4s on top and the 5s looking right at you. And I hold it like that. So when I release it, and it releases at that, 3-4, possibly 5-degree angle, that they're going to twist in the air like that, preferably staying together, and they're going to land like that and hit off the back wall. So when they land on the 3s, when they land with the 4s showing on top, that's the ideal shot right there. That's when you're going to yield damn near perfect results almost every time. If you could repeat the same exact shot every single time, of course you would be hitting the same number over and over and over and over, and they couldn't do nothing to stop you. But we're not robotic, we're not mechanical. We can practice our we can practice all we want and throw the muscle memory shot as much as we want. And you know, still not even come close to hitting the same number every time. That was a hard 8. We'll use white for hard ways. And like I said, this is how they ended up, with the 4s on top and the yo looking at you. So all this dice did was turn one turn. We had a dice fall off the table just now. Whoopsie. Whoopsie. Let's see where that went. Here you are. You bad little die. How dare you? Who knows what that would have been? But there was a 3 on the other dice. There's another 9, a 4, 5, 9. We're seeing some repeated results here. This is how they landed on the back wall. With the yo looking at you, 4, 5 on top. So what happened this time, this dice went up and over. 2 turns on that one, which is, that's fine. That's completely fine. As long as it doesn't turn over. If it does a whole 180, one of the dice does a whole 180 and the other one lands where you want it to land on the 4, that's a 7. It's a 4, 3, 7. And the reason the 6-1 comes, like it just did, is because of the pyramid back wall. The science behind that is pretty interesting. And we just rolled the 6-1-7, speaking of. So there's how it looked. 6-1-7 with the 4-5 at us. So this one went inward and upward, and this one just tilted one time. So the reason the 6-1-7 hits on this dice set more than any other 7 is because it's right there in the middle. And when these dice go up and hit the back wall, when they bounce, most times they're going to, bounce up and at an angle. And if they hit the pyramids, I'm not sure if you can even see my hands anymore. Yeah, you can. Okay. If they hit the pyramids like on the right side, then it'll continue to spin on that axis and hit on the 7, the 6-1-7. So there's our 7. We only rolled 4 times. We got 9-8-9-8 or 8-9-8-9, whatever it was. But we're not concerned with the hits. We're just recording them for, I don't know, recording's sake, whatever. We're focusing on the arm. Lift and release. This is about your release height right there. Now, sometimes when I release, in midair, I'll separate my fingers away from the dice like that, because they're just there for stability. So I'll just let them go and then release. You don't want to throw the dice. You want to release them. See, I dropped them on the hard way set, and it's still on the hard way set. That's the science. There is an amazing science to this game, and that back wall kind of fucks you up sometimes. Keep the wrist taut, arm straight, and release. Wow. We got some aces out here. This is how it landed at the back wall. Aces on top. Easy 6 looking right at you. We hit some aces out here. Six, 3, 9. That one was right in my landing zone. Didn't bounce too high. Didn't go nowhere. That was a good shot. Again, if you're trying to do something like this at home, and you have some dice and maybe a back wall, even if you don't have a back wall, set up a table that's 8 feet and just put up, I don't know, anything to put the dice, to throw the dice against, and it won't be completely casino simulated, but you'll be able to practice your shot, which is the main point of this video here. You want to practice your shot. We got some more aces with the 7 looking at us this time. If you practice your shot 20 minutes a day, eventually you'll start throwing real consistently, because that muscle memory will be learned. Your muscles will know what you're trying to do when you set your hand up the same way every time, when you're having your fingers in the same position every time. Your muscle will just know what you're looking to achieve. We got us an easy 8. 6 deuce. But for you folks that watch my Backyard Ghetto Craps videos, that would have been a repeater bet when we hit the 2 aces. Would have paid us a nice little 40 bucks. But that's besides the point. We're not talking about bets here. We're talking about arms. We're talking about guns. I have several tools on my table to help me keep in line. For one, this right here, this line, is in line with the back wall. It's just a little to the right of where I want my dice to land. That's a yo, 5-6 yo, with the ace deuce looking at us. Landed like this at the back wall. There's an easy 6. Four deuce, 6. I don't know if I marked the other one. The yo? No, I didn't. It's way down here. There we go. That right there is 6 rolls. 2 aces, a yo, and 3 inside numbers. And I'm hitting right in my landing zone. But guess what happened? About every 6 rolls, on average, you will hit a 7. And in this case, it was the 6, 1, 7, with the 4, 5 looking at me. So I'm not sure exactly what went wrong, but I can tell you that this dice went over and it was in, and this dice, actually that stayed there, just tilted like that. So this one got turned twice, some way, and this one got turned on the 6. So, hope you enjoyed this little banger here. It wasn't much, but I mean, I hope it can help you, you know, get some procedure down, at least. Some arm strength, arm training, whatever you want to call it. Because, to be honest, repetition of the same thing is why I shoot so damn consistent. I mean, that right there wasn't a good show of, you know, if we had money on the table, we would have lost some money there, because I hit horn numbers. I hit 2 aces and a yo, and I only hit 3 inside numbers. So we usually go for 4 presses in a row. So we go for 5 inside numbers, and we try and avoid the yo when we have a point, or we try and avoid the horn when we have a point. But that's a different topic for a different video. I hope you enjoyed this little, I can't really call it a tutorial, but instructional video. This is the Doctor, and I'll see you next time.